Here we are, everybody, back in my kitchen. Welcome back. So I'm Esther. If you haven't been here before, welcome. This is Esther's Eden, my homestead. Let's flick the light on. This week, I thought I would show you how to make bone broth. Actually, just a few days ago, I made this gorgeous roast chicken. I do not like to waste anything. If I am gonna work so hard as to grow the animal on my farm or produce or whatever it is, then I want to get as much use out of it from beginning to end. So, fortunately, I didn't have to raise these guys. We got a really good deal on home, like farm-raised chickens last year. And, pardon my adorable kids in the background. They're so cute, aren't they? We're having so much fun today. Sleepover with the cousins. So, woo! There we go. Okay, girlies. Not so loud. Anyway, so I thought I would show you guys. I know there's been some questions, and I've seen some questions on what is the difference between broth, stock, and bone broth. So I thought I would bring you guys for my process for making this into bone broth. So I will go through, this is going to take us a couple of days. So I will kind of go through that process with you, and I'll show you the differences at each stage. So for now, we're going to start real simple. I have my crock pot here, my trusty crock pot. This is my favorite way of doing it. You can also do it on the stove, but if we're going to cook this into bone broth, which is what we're going to do with this chicken today, I do not want to use that much propane for it. So I find that the electricity is better. Oh, they're so loud. That's all right. Okay, so we're just going to take this chicken, and I'm leaving all the meat on it. And there's also all this good drippings left in the pan. So I'm just going to grab, yeah, you guys can. Yes, you can come in now. So I'm actually going to take all that out. It's all gelled. I used some of it to make gravy. It was so good. What's the matter?
I got hurt.
Oh, again? Okay, so we're just gonna stick that in our crock pot here. And now I'm gonna fill the whole thing with water. Perfect. Okay, so we have our chicken in the bottom. You can see some herbs that's just left over from the baking. The roasting process, and then I filled it full of the water. We're just going to put our lid on, and we've got it on low here. Now I'm just going to cook this in this pot just like this for 2-3 days. All right, so that's going to cook for a couple of days now, and what we're going for is the bones will end up being fork tender, and that is how you know you've reached bone broth. And the point of that is to pull out all those nutrients that are within the bone, the marrow, and all of that, and put them into your liquid. I will show you here in a couple of days. I'll show you what it looks like when it's stock, and then and also broth. Those only have to cook for a few hours, so I usually say that if you're making an herb broth, then really only takes about 2 to 3 hours, or even a vegetable broth. If you want to make a stock, then you need to cook it for between 6 to 10 hours generally, and a bone broth is going to be a couple of day-long process. So that's what we're going for today. They all have different properties and benefits, and I'll kind of go over those as we get to each process. Hey, good morning, everybody. Oh my gosh, it's so cold. So I thought I would go ahead. The bone broth has been cooking for a couple of days now. So I thought I'd go ahead and give you guys an update on that, and let's go ahead and get that finished. I was hoping to be able to take you along, but the last couple of days have been really busy preparing. We've had this cold snap come. I think today and tomorrow are supposed to be the coldest. I thought it was supposed to last for a whole week, and it turns out we're gonna get off the hook. So thank goodness for that. Let's check real quick. The temperature this morning when we woke up was 7, and it's 15. So the high today is like not even gonna be 20 degrees. So we're almost at our high for the day. Yay! It is a beautiful day though. The sun is out. And I'm so glad that I filmed the morning chores yesterday instead of today because it was so cold. So anyway, all right, enough. So I got to thinking one day when I was like, I make stock and broth all the time, just regular broth, because, well, it's delicious and we use it for a base of soup, or sometimes I'll put it in gravy or cook rice in it, although my kids are a big fan of that. I don't know why, it's so much better. But anyway, so I got to thinking, you can't feed cooked bones to your dogs and your cats because they can break off into pieces and shards and get stuck in their gums and stuff, and we don't want to do that. But I thought, well, you know, if you're making bone broth, and I'm going to show you guys here in just a second, if you're making bone broth, you have bones that are fork tender. So I thought, well, then why couldn't I feed that to the dogs? And the other great thing is that if you don't have a dog or a cat, or any animals that you would feed that back to, you can actually take the bones that are fork tender, because I'll show you in just a sec, and you can dehydrate them. You have your own homemade bone meal for the garden. Now obviously it's going to take a ton of bones to make just a little bit of powdered bone meal, but isn't that worth it? So I'm always trying to come up with ways to utilize every single piece and part. Like, I even made head cheese. I like to call it fromage de tête because that sounds a lot better. I can't even hardly say head cheese. Look at that. So, this has been cooking since Sunday. We roasted the chicken first, and then, yeah, so if I push on this bone right here, this is a leg bone. Let's see if we can get it in the shot here. I do have this great chicken that falls off, so you will find that. I try not to squish the bones up too much till I've strained it. Yeah, so you can see that the fork just goes right through that. That's part of the leg. Can you tell? And that's how you know you have gotten, so right there in this brown bit right there, that is actually marrow. And that's what we're after. We're trying to extract that and all those good vitamins and minerals that are down in the bones. So we're gonna get that strained out here in just a few minutes. I'm just gonna leave it on warm and I'm gonna put the lid back on. I'm not quite ready to do that yet. I will show you that process here in a few minutes. So I just wanted to take a second here to say thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it so much. Thank you also for hitting the subscribe button. That really helps. I'm hoping to get up to 500 subscribers here real soon. I told my kids that I would take them on a special date if we get to that number. So they're really, really rooting for me. They're so cute. So I'd really love if you guys would share this, if you'd subscribe, if you're enjoying these videos. And I realize we've had a lot of cooking videos and a lot of chore videos and things. It is really slow in the wintertime. We appreciate that though. This is kind of our time to take a break and reflect and plan for the season that's coming. We have got tons of stuff coming up real soon that I know you guys are going to be totally excited to watch and see, and I'm excited to share with you. Okay, so we have our crock pot here, and I wanted to talk a little bit about the difference between broth, stock, and bone broth. I know it can be super confusing. I'm going to go ahead and turn this back on low. This is the bone broth. So this is cooked for 2 days. So we're just going to add that back to our pot. And then I'm actually going to combine making stock with bone broth. So instead of using water for my stock, I'm just using the bone broth that's already done. It's ready to go. Now my goal for this, my end goal is going to be a chicken noodle soup or chicken and rice. I haven't decided. So right now this has it has some herbs in it, but it doesn't have any salt. It doesn't have any veggies. So I need to cook this for a little while, just about 4 hours with the veggies in it in order to make a stock. Now a stock can also have bones, it can have meat, and it can have veggies in it. The difference is basically, well, I'm just going to tell you right now what a stock is. So a stock has bones, it can have veggies, it can have meat in it, and it's just the next level of health benefits. So actually, you can even use, I'm just going to take the wilted leaves off of this, but you can totally use all these leaves. It will just, the goal is flavor at this point, and you are extracting, essentially we're just making a tea, a vegetable and bone tea. So we're just going to stick those in. Just rough chopped is good. I'm just going to take the kind of ends off there. So all broth, stock, and bone broth is all good for the same things. They just are stronger or weaker depending on which one you're using. You know, you could use chicken bones, you could use beef bones, you could use fish bones, really whatever is good in your area. I like to add onion. I like to add parsley when I have it. I added dry to the bone broth as it was cooking. I like to add carrots. Sometimes I add potato. Potato peels have great, it's a great source of potassium. There we go. And so we're just gonna put our lid on, and I'm gonna cook that on low for about 4 hours. Let's get this broth video wrapped up here. So I started this several days ago now, and I wanted to show you something before I take off here. I have made broth more times than I can count, seriously. I have never had this problem before, and also I have never tried this before. So I'm gonna show you guys what I did. I had a total dinner fail last night, and so let's just show you. I decided that I would just go ahead and make the soup for dinner last night in the crock pot so that my husband didn't have to do anything with it. So I threw rice in the crock pot with the bone broth I had been making, and you can see it is like the consistency of snot. Like, I'm not even kidding you. I very, very rarely don't make my children eat dinner. I did not make them eat this last night. So you might be wondering, what am I going to do with this? Why did I leave it on the counter to cool? There's just some things like textures that we cannot do. We're going to bag that up into small portions, and that's going to become dog food because it's rice, it's carrots and celery and bone broth and chicken, and you know, there's nothing bad in there for the pups. So that's what we're gonna do with that. I'm just gonna freeze it into little portions for her, and yeah, so that's what we're gonna do with it. So if you have cooked rice in the crock pot before, this is what I get for not Googling it. So if you've cooked rice in the crock pot before in a soup, how long did you cook it for? I mean, I cooked that for about 3 or 4 hours. Obviously that was way too long. Maybe definitely 4 hours. What? Okay guys, thank you for joining me for this crazy long video of making stock broth and bone broth. I hope you have learned the difference between them. I did want to say that some people call broth and stock the same thing. So the last thing I wanted to say real quick is that to rescue my child. What do you want me to do? He's gotten himself into a predicament here. All right, put your leg down. There you go. Never know in mom life here. So I did want to say that if you are following these videos every single day, or at least Monday through Friday, tomorrow I am going to be taking you guys on a little bit of an adventure and a sneak peek into something that is happening. I'm super excited for it. I'm super honored, and I can't wait to share it with you guys. So let's recap. Broth you cook for 3 to 4 hours and generally does not have bones in it. It's high in vitamins, it's warming, and helps your body to rebuild itself through heat, hydration, and nutrients. Stock you cook for 6 to 10 hours, usually has bones in it. It's great for flu season and lowers inflammation. It can contain potassium, mineral salts, and electrolytes. Bone broth you can cook for several days. It's great for gut health. It's a good source of gelatin, calcium, magnesium, and phosphorus. All three help to heat and warm the body in cold temperatures. They can help to be a wonderful addition or base to gravies and soups. All three of these are a wonderful thing to include in your daily life.